So here's what I need you to know. A couple of you know about this about me. So I grew up in the oldest mill town in the United States. I grew up as that working poor people who were completely invisible in the world. I grew up on food banks and food stamps. I have been evicted more times than I can count. I have slept in cars. And there were 2 women in this world who got me to where I am standing here today with you. And it is so important to me that you hear that none of where I am today is because of me. The first is my mother, who is the fiercest woman I have ever met in my life. How she did what she did for my sisters and I, and how we lived, and how I am standing here today. My life is about paying her back. When I was 10 years old, just before we were going to be evicted from another house, my mother threw a little birthday party for me. And the neighbor donated this tiny little ice cream cake. And my mother somehow got these napkins that said, among all my 5th grade friends, may I remind you, in the oldest mill town in the country, that said, a woman's place is in the house, ... and the Senate. I was very popular. Can you imagine that now? And when I was 11 years old, I wrote postcards to Ronald Reagan out of a homeless shelter to hold on to not overturn Roe v. Wade. And so I am here today because of my mother, and the second woman who completely changed how I move through this world and how I walk every day, and how I believe that I am so fierce and bold and unapologetic, and I will never apologize for the amount of space I take in the world every day, is Gloria Steinem. So guess what I'm talking to you all about? Oh my God, I'm talking to you about money. You don't grow up as poor as I did and shy away from talking about money.
That's right.
Here's the gift of the working poor in this globe. We will bloody talk about money. There's nothing polite about it. It's just a resource. And here's what I want you to know. You want to come into your voice? Carol Gilligan, who's taught me more about coming into my voice. 13 years old, read her book, went, that's what's up. You better let go of your wallet. Because I'm telling you now that I work with some of the most influential women philanthropists throughout the globe. And they don't have the level of empowerment in their whole person that I have in right here. Because the very thing that was set to liberate us by having money has started to strangle women. Because we are holding on to it. But I'm not going to be okay, but you don't understand, but Kathy, you don't get. I don't get? You just told me I don't get that? The best day in my life is the day I wrote a $10,000 check. I wrote a $10,000 check when I was 29 years old. I didn't have mortgage. Look, I didn't have a mortgage for January. Wrote it in December. Do you know everybody told me not to write it? Everybody told me not to write it. Do you know what it did to write it? I have only just begun to do what I'm fully capable of doing. I promise you, if you hold on to your money, you will not find your voice. That may be, we can sit in rooms, talk about women being raped, talk about child sex trafficking, talk about incest, the hardest, most difficult things in the world. You talk about money, we all pull back in. We all bargain, we all rationalize, we all justify. It is a tool that you own. It does not own you. I do not have to make the case for Feminist.com tonight. I do not have to make that case. It has been made. I'm going to ask you to write a check tonight that makes you sweat. Start to feel a little like, could Gloria call the EMTs with the oxygen or their EpiPens right in my heart that could, because I want you to do it for you. because I want you to do it for you. It will change the way you see yourself as a change agent in this world when you write the check that makes you shake and say, but what if? The moment I started writing the checks that reflected my soul is the moment I left that little mill town goodbye. And now I am unstoppable because money doesn't change me any longer. If I can do it, you can do it. And I'm sitting here promising you, and I need you to hear this really clearly from me, that I get asked to go to a lot of events and ask for money because I'm good at it. And I say no a lot because I'm not so sure they're going to do a great job with the money that I raise. And I'm completely unwilling to have your heart and your soul and your resources not do a good job. I'm sitting here telling you that Marianne and her team will rock the house with the check that you write. So this isn't tonight, what do I want to do for Feminist.com? This is, how do I see me in the world? And do I think those people over there are the great philanthropists? Or am I the philanthropist I was always seeking? And that is up to you. And you're going to get a great thank you letter after you write this check. But only you're going to know if it's the check you were meant to write tonight. My other promise to you, and it's important you to know about me, is I don't break promises. You will not one day be on your deathbed and say, do you know the mistake that I made? Yeah, back in March 2012, I should never have written that check to Feminist.com. So I'd undo that if I could change anything. So would you do me a favor tonight and step into who you are? And I will not ask you to do anything I'm not willing to do, so I'll be writing my stretch, sweat, vomit, epinephrine check to Marianne. Because I'm done with women doing it on a bloody shoestring and having us think that's so great. It's actually not great. It's not great. It's not great. So I'm going to ask you to write a big fat check tonight. Big one. Whatever, however you define that. However you define that. Nobody's going to check. Nobody's going to look. Everyone's going to thank you. You're going to know. So tonight's the night you decide. Is today the day I step into the person I am? Am I waiting for permission? Am I waiting for another year? Am I waiting for some person on Wall Street to tell me now is okay? Today's the day that you write the check. So write the check and watch Marianne and her team rock the house and become the change agent that you've been always waiting to meet. And someone sent me this quote. Y'all gotten this quote yet? It's anonymous, so I love quoting people, but what? No, it's anonymous. That says, be the kind of woman that when you wake up in the morning and you put your feet on the ground, the devil says, oh shit, she's up. Thank you all very much.